All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another BDPA Tech and Career Talk. I am your host, Devin Jenkins, our National Tech and Career Talk leader. I serve as the IT pricing leader for US and Canada at GE Healthcare, as well as the founder and CEO of Share the Vibes LLC. So glad to have you with us. If this is your first time joining, I always like to give a quick background of BDPA and what it is, who we are, as well as the Tech and Career Talks and what this is all about. So BDPA is Black Data Processing Associates. The organization was started in 1975, kind of with two main focuses. One is building up technical skills, computer skills, and our youth in the African American community, especially, but also serving as a forum for professional development, career advancement, all those good things for those working in the IT industry. So our mantra is advancing careers from the classroom. Plan to continue doing that for another 40 plus. Thank you for joining us. Our Tech and Career Talks happen the second and fourth Friday of each month. We feature and topics. Everyone C-suite to entry level has a seat at the table when it comes to sharing insight in the Tech and Career Talks. So we talked interaction before. We've discussed cloud. We've discussed entrepreneurship. We've discussed emotional intelligence. So we cover a range, give everyone something that they can relate to and benefit from. So if you're interested in speaking in the platform going forward, let me know and we'll get you in the lineup. We will take a break from the Tech and Career Talks in August as we focus our efforts and attention to the conference taking place August 17th to the 19th at the Westin Peachtree Plaza, and which we'll be getting more into here shortly. But wanted to give you just a little grounding and foundation for those who may not be as familiar with BDPA and the Tech and Career Talk. So thank you all for joining today. I'm excited about this conversation. We have this year's conference co-chairs joining us today, Stephanie and Victor. So first and foremost, Stephanie, Victor, how are both of you doing?
I am doing well, but exhausted at the same time.
And I'm blessed, man. Happy to be here with you.
Oh man, thank you for joining us today. Maybe let's just start with just quick intros for both of you, for those who may not be as familiar with you. Maybe Stephanie, we'll start with you, then go to Victor.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I am Stephanie Gloster. I live in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm, in addition to the conference co-chair this year, I'm the South Regional VP for BDPA. My day job is I work for Deloitte and I manage our SAP platforms. It's a pleasure to see all of you here.
Awesome. And I am Victor Montgomery. Excited to be here with you all today. I am a co-chair with Stephanie, as well as your immediate past president for the BDPA Atlanta chapter. I currently operate with many hats in BDPA Atlanta, but officially as the VP of Finance. In addition to that, my day job is as an audit director for State Farm. Really excited to be here with you all, and I reside in Decula, Georgia, which is about 30 miles northeast of Atlanta.
Thank you, Stephanie, Victor. I think it's good to always know who we're working with and who's running the show for us. So it's good to know people on a personal level, I think. So thank you for that. So let's get into it. So we're about 3 weeks out from the conference. I think we might be just shy of 21 days. I'm sure Allison has a specific count in her mind. I see her in the call, but we're about 3 weeks out from the conference. So just tell us, how are you feeling?
We have a lot of pieces, a lot of moving parts, but I'm excited and I can't wait to see how everything comes together.
Yeah, and as you know, when you have many balls in the air, you're just trying not to drop any. But at the same time, the anticipation of, the events, the activity, the experience, and the smiles on faces, getting into some of that activity that we'll talk about soon with, students winning awards and folks just being happy and jolly and learning. Like I'm really, excited about, those particular things.
Well, thank you both for that. And I did put in the chat this year's link. So if you have not registered, I challenge you to do so before the call ends. Conference.bdpa.org. Go out, make sure you take care of that so you can be in the number with us here in a few weeks. You served as our conference co-chairs this year. Maybe give us just a little inside peek, maybe not all the nuances, but just a little bit of what goes into event? What makes a BDPA come together?
Well, for us, we're blessed with having a wonderful planning team. They've been working hard behind the scenes. Whenever I ask them to do anything, they don't hesitate to help. So for me, the team is the key to having a successful experience. Would you agree, Victor?
Oh, most definitely. You can't do much without willing people to help you bring an experience to light. And in addition to that, just having leaders around you that believe in a vision that allow you to both execute and have autonomy, but also provide that guidance. It's always needed. And then forgiveness, right? Because there are going to be missteps along the way. So just having open communication and spaces for grace and forgiveness, it's always needed to help execute something on this scale.
Yeah, thank you for that context. I think it's good as consumers of the experience. We come and we have expectations and we want things done a certain way, but we don't always take the time into making it happen. So I think it's always good to give people that context so we can all appreciate the work that goes into pulling off a grand experience like BDPA Con. So that being said, our theme this year is Future Now. So tell us about the theme. What does that mean?
Oh man, hey, it's just exciting, right? So as we've seen, over the past, I would say 8 to 9 months, there's been a particular technology that has just grown legs and taken over, right? So back in November, Chat GPT via OpenAI was released. And, in 5 days, it gained 1 million users. So when you think of that adoption rate, we no longer have opportunities, when it comes to technology and using that as a baseline to wait, to be late adopters. Like we have to jump in very early because the window is small. So Future Now is embracing that philosophy. It's saying everything you thought that you were going to wait to do in the future, no, let's accelerate that and let's bring that to the forefront. Let's make that a part of our everyday, right? So we're really encouraging our audience, our participants to embrace like what is happening in the technical landscape, with the technical landscape. As you can see, there are so many companies that are cropping up. The complexities that's going to exist in cybersecurity, right? So when you think about quantum and the advancement that we're making in that space and what it can do, to metaverse, although we're not talking about it as much as of today because of generative AI, but metaverse is still a huge player. And when you begin to combine all of these technologies, what it's going to do to our future, it's crazy. So we want our folks to be ready. We want our folks to embrace it. And we're looking for this conference to be, if not an entry point, and a reinforcer to some of those philosophies from a technical landscape.
Not Victor, and I agree wholeheartedly. If we're not ahead of it, we'll be left behind it. So we definitely have to do our part to make sure we're at least in the know. Stephanie, anything you want to add around this year's conference theme of Future Now?
No, I think Victor covered everything.
Okay. So we got into our theme Future Now and kind of preparing for what's to come today. And not waiting for it to pass us by. How have the conference experiences this year been shaped in a way to kind of bring that theme to life?
Victor, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, and as I think about conference experience and how we shape it, and I do apologize because I see Kat and I run after it, so I saw Quincy, is it Quincy? Put his LinkedIn in there, and I'm like, oh, let me go and check him out. He's a student of a big thing. So yes, but when I think about just how our experience is shaped, right? So we want to ensure, still embracing that conference theme, that we're including activities, experiences, talks that touch all the dynamics of our membership. So as you mentioned, Devin, our motto is from the classroom to the boardroom. So we have to ensure that within that conference experience, we're hitting that model. So from our professional having experience where you're going to learn from experts within the industry, we have CIOs, CTOs, we have technical experts, cybersecurity folks, health IT, all of those things are going to help shape that professional landscape. And when you go down to our youth experience, we're not trying to take any stops there, right? We have experiences where the students, the younger members of our cohort will be exposed to AI. They'll have opportunities to learn more about tech and science, right? We have a chemistry thing where some icing is going to be pretty exciting for them, but then we're also pulling in that esports component. And let me just say, it's targeting the youth, but Victor will be a participant in esports, right? We have that esports component because we want to, right? So whatever we can do, we're doing it in our competition. So it's overall going to be a really exciting atmosphere. And we're just looking, to not only enhance your, awareness of technology, but also build networking. Like I see some folks on the call that I don't know. I want to be sure that I know you when I leave the conference. I want to be sure that we're connected and that, whatever it is that I can provide to your community and you back to mine, that we have that open line to each other. That's the conference.
There it is, drops mic. Maybe Stephanie, I think Victor started to talk about it a little bit. The transition into one of the major components of the conference is always the speakers. We
Yes.
have workshop presenters, we have keynotes, panelists. What can we expect from this year's lineup, given our theme and the focus around future tech, prepare for those things today? What can we expect in this year's speaker lineup?
Okay, well, our opening keynote speaker is going to be Brian Ben. He's the CIO of the Atlanta Housing Authority. We thought it was good to have someone from Atlanta to kick off the conference, to foster that relationship, since, we'll also be in Atlanta next year. And then we're doing a little something different with two of the keynotes. One is going to give you the recipe on how to become a tech entrepreneur. I don't think we've ever had that type of keynote before. And then another keynote is going to be a panel devoted to the recent Supreme Court affirmative action decisions and how that could affect us, students as well as professionals in the future. Some of the workshops we're going to have are AI, ML, healthcare, IT, cybersecurity, like Victor mentioned. And one special thing that we're doing is we have a reception with IBM, and it's going to be featuring a discussion on Watson X. And in case you're not familiar with the Watson X, that's their new data and AI platform. And another new thing that we're doing this year is a robotics competition that's sponsored by Johnson & Johnson.
Exciting. Is there anything you want to add there around just some of these special or unique topics that we have this year? I know we heard your passion around AI and ChatGPT and generative AI and what for people these days. So I'm excited to see that being such a big focus at this conference. Anything else you want to add around some of these special technologies and key topics we're focusing on this year?
Yeah, the add-on that I would have to that, and I see this at many conferences I participate in, is that we go in, we hear from experts, we get really excited in the moment, but when we walk away, we're not walking away with those tangible items that we can execute on. So I would just, encourage everyone, as you see, the manifestation of what AI is going to be happening right in front of you. Every day I see tons of new AI companies. I want us to be at the conference, whether it's as an entrepreneur and independent or as a cohort, as a group, folks that are just coming together via networking, to begin to identify what are some of those things that we can come together to do to not only improve our communities, but also bring some of those dollars that will funnel out into our community. Like that would be special for me. So, I'm definitely passionate on that AI topic. But even more than that, I'm passionate about us rallying around things that are going to impact our future and really taking a strong hold of it. And I'll give a shout out to Ken Reeves. Ken Reeves is an individual that's big on that. Let's see how we can, maximize things that we're getting exposure to.
No, thank you both for that. And I think that's important to keep us timely and relevant as a technology organization. So I appreciate the forethought and the visionary leadership of the plan. Topics at the forefront of experience. So I talk about it a little bit. And even Victor, I know you mentioned esports earlier at the BDPA conference yet. Steph, you mentioned a keynote around becoming an entrepreneur, which was a good tie into the pitch competition we had this year as well. What are some of the, or maybe we can go a little bit ways we're being innovative, doing before this year to make BDPACON23 different from all the others. So what are some of the new innovative things we're doing to make the conference stand out from all the others before?
Victor, do you want to talk about more in depth about esports and what you're doing over there?
Yeah, and look, this is just scratching the surface. There's so much more that we want to do from that esports programming standpoint that we're going to continue to integrate not only into the conference, but hopefully into some of our chapter activities as well. But we're fortunate enough to get a sponsor to come in and help support the esports activities that we have going on, and it's going to be an amazing experience. So we have 3 games that students will have an opportunity to win scholarship dollars from. So playing games is one thing, winning money, that's an entirely different thing, right? Mama can't tell me to get off that game anymore when I can get money from it, right? So we definitely want to highlight that. Of course, you can't do anything without 2K, NFL, we're gonna have basketball, football, and then we're gonna have another game that, is probably more for anyone. A certain skill level is not gonna matter. But, I have to give props to our sponsors. We have many sponsors that support BDPA, but in particular for this esports one, we just right place, right time. State Farm is going to sponsor the esports, and our premier game competition is going to be Forza 5, in which we have State Farm designed cars. So it's going to look great. It's going to feel great. We're able to drop some signage in the video game, just to bring it to life and give props to our sponsor. But again, that's new for us. That's new for us. And if I were just to give you insight into the future, our children, our students, and hopefully we can advance it as well to others, but they're going to be building video games in the future. So be on the lookout for that. But again, we're just trying to bring a lot of energy. We'll have VR. We'll have a lot of activity for that group. Really exciting.
Esports is definitely on the rise, and I was at BitCon last year with Timothy Butts, one of our VPs, and they had a meta, and that was like my first time just really seeing kind of the new influx of e-gaming. But that's when I really made the connection between esports. It's a very viable and relevant IT industry now, and it made me pause, someone who's a little bit earlier in my career, to really think about how we have to redefine what it means to be a technology professional now, especially relevant to the young people. Everyone's not interested in, HTML and Python and everything, or at least it being presented in a traditional way. When you can connect it to passions like gaming, even the sports and everything that goes into making a sports arena, so much opportunity. And I'm applaud BDPA for positioning those opportunities in a way that so thank you for delving into that, Victor. Anything else on the innovative things we're doing this year from your perspective, Stephanie?
Not necessarily on the innovative topic, but I can go into some of the social activities that we're going to have.
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, we like to have fun at conferences. So. Tell us about that, Stephanie.
Okay, so for those who are coming in on Wednesday, Fearless Solutions is hosting a welcome reception from 6 to 8 on Wednesday. Then on Thursday, we have, as I mentioned before, the reception that IBM is doing with Watson X. And then the evening event is the Molson Coors event, is for 21 and over. So you also have to register in advance to attend that one. Friday, Google is doing a social event Friday evening. And then Saturday is our, main event, the award ceremony. We're doing that again. We're having an after party with DJ Tron. He was the DJ from last year. And also we have a special host that we're going to have. So he's going to bring some excitement to the award ceremony, something, a little different than what we're used to. But I think everyone's going to enjoy that.
I know I'm looking forward to it. I had a good time with DJ Tron last year, so I'm looking forward to running that back. Victor, anything you want to add on the social side of the experience this year?
Look, man, I'm excited. So I got my Chicago people over here, got ready to step. Look, I'm all thrown off here. It's easy to get me off track. But, when you think about these sponsors that are, committing to creating a great experience, right? A, I take my head off to them, but B, man, I just want to support that. I want to support that because, again, these are opportunities for me to either come back together with folks that I haven't seen in a bit or be introduced to new people, right? Building your network is extremely important in this environment, right? So those social activities, they just provide another avenue for you to build to your family, build to your tribe. And, beyond social, one thing I'm not going to let you skip out on, Devin, is the fact that we do have the pitch competition again. We're not going to say that it's innovative, but it's a space where we're giving opportunity to rising entrepreneurs in supporting their dreams, right? And I know you're spearheading that, so I am extremely excited to see those that, have chosen to participate and take advantage of what we're offering from that lens. So it's just an overall great experience, something for everyone. And I do see a hand up, so I don't know if we're, opening up for questions, but I do see a hand up also.
Yep, I see Tori's hand. I think I see a question too in the chat. So I want to do one more question, and then we're going to open the floor to everyone who has questions. Because I don't want us to leave here without the opportunity for people to learn how to get engaged with the conference, or if there's any help that's still needed. So that'll be my last question here. Are there still opportunities for people to get engaged with helping logistically at the conference? Do we need volunteers? What's the registration deadline? So all those types of things. Like, what do people need to know as we're here in the last 3 weeks before the conference, as far as really being engaged and participating in the experience?
Yeah.
Well, one thing is, starting today until the 31st, we went back to the early bird registration rates. So please take advantage of that. Also, we definitely need volunteers. So if you're willing to volunteer, you can reach us at helpdesk@bdpa.org. Let's see. We have a weekly conference newsletter that comes out that Goldie Bonnie has been doing for us. She's doing a great job. She keeps us up to date on what's happening with all of the happenings at the conference. Am I leaving anything out? Oh, the deadline for registration, I believe, is right up until the registration, but starting August 1st is going to be the late registration rate. So they're going to jump quite a bit. So I would encourage you, if you haven't registered yet, to please take advantage of the end of July special.
Yeah, deadline was yesterday, but we'll accept it all the way up until.
Okay, I see there was a question in the chat from Natalie earlier asking, do we need to register for each session we would like to attend?
No, you don't have to do that. The only additional one that you need to register for is the Molson Coors event. But everything else would be included in your conference registration. Oh, thank you, Goldie. Google, we also have to register for that one too. I'm sorry.
Okay. And will there be an email sent out with registration instructions for those events, or is that already out on Google somewhere?
already socialized the one for Molson Coors. It's on the conference website as well as it's in the conference newsletter.
Okay. Check out the website, check out the newsletter, keep your eyes peeled so you don't miss these sign up opportunities.
And download Hoover. So download Hoover. That's the way that we interact and engage. You'll get real-time conference insights, feedback, etc. You know, if anything shifts or are there any changes, Hoover is probably the quickest way for you to access that information. So I definitely encourage you, if you haven't done so already, to download Hoover.
Okay. All right, Tori, I see your hand raised, so we will come to you.
Okay, I think I wanted to put that down. I was trying to piggyback off of something that Victor had spoke about as far as, you know, showing the youngsters how to monetize, you know, their software skills and things like that. And so I'm looking at the conference. I haven't registered yet, but I just accepted a small position at Bowie State to do a computer science boot camp. And I named the title of my session, The Business of Me, where I'm trying to show the students how they can take their computer science degree and turn it, you know, down the entrepreneurship pathway. And so I was going to do that by having them, you know, just develop some quick web-based application and then try and market the web things to local businesses. And I say all of that to say that when you were saying that, you know, most of them think it's not, you know, as relevant, or they can't see the results up front. Usually when you can put together something WYSIWYG like a web page, they can see what's up front. And then I'm coordinating with a graduate student who's going to teach them all the back end stuff, you know, whether it's Perl, PHP, or whatever, is dragging the information off the web page. And then he's going to tie in the database section of it. So they'll actually get to see, you know, all the hard programming, the C+, and all those things that can actually process the form data and then, you know, store it in a database. And they see the reality of, oh, this is something that we can do, you know, in a very short period of time and make money off of it. So teaching them those entrepreneurship skills. And as you know, Bowie State has committed to their entrepreneurship center. They have a whole building for that, where they have students who can, you know, who are starting up businesses. The Small Business Administration is housing, you know, one of the rooms there. They got SCORE and all these other agencies there. Then I wanted to date myself, and then I did my master's thesis back in 1989 on machine learning, when I taught the system how to recognize the Russian alphabet. And by doing so, and Victor, I learned how to speak Russian at 12 years old at Morgan Park High School in Chicago. Okay. So taking all of that information and see where AI or machine learning, all this other stuff is going right now, it is, you know, going leaps and bounds from what we were doing way back in the 80s. And just to see that transition, knowing that we are in a paradigm shift for sure. And I don't want to see our people left behind in that arena. That's it.
Tori, you know, I was over here capturing notes, you know, and Morgan State made it to my notes.
Okay. Oh, no, that was Morgan Park High
Morgan
School.
Park, yeah, Morgan Park made it to my notes. That was a school that a lot of my track folks went to back in Chicago. But
Mae Jameson graduated from there, first female Black astronaut, right?
yes.
A lot of history. Thank you for sharing that, Tori. Great work you're doing there.
Thank you.
So the floor is open to anyone who has questions or comments as it relates to anything that was shared today or that wasn't shared today, all around this year's conference.
Hello, this is Charity with the Chicago chapter. I apologize for missing the beginning to handle matters of students, my son. And I was, my question is in reference to
It's a little hard to hear you, Charity. I don't know if you're in a bad area or you stepped away from your phone. I want to make sure we capture your question.
Sure, thank you. Is that better?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I was wondering in reference to the students attending the conference, what meals are included in the programming for them, so we know as a chapter what to plan for in reference to their meals outside of that? Is it just the lunch for the days of the conference? And then the chapters are then to make sure that their meals are covered for breakfast and dinner outside of lunch during the conference for the students.
Hi, Charity. We're trying to, I'm still working on the menu, but we're trying to do breakfast and lunch on Thursday. Friday, breakfast and lunch as well, and then breakfast on Saturday, and then Saturday would also be the award ceremony dinner. Is that helpful for you?
Yes, so Saturday, breakfast, and then dinner. Friday, Thursday and Friday, you're saying breakfast and lunch?
Yes.
Then the other question would be for those that are located down there, in reference to dinner, is there, what do you recommend or what has been done before when it comes to students for dinner for Thursday and Friday in reference to maybe like a recommendation of a pizza spot to be delivered to them or something, or something of some other type of place that's local that they could walk to possibly or whatnot with their chaperones for dinner that's next door or something, just like a couple of different options for that Thursday, Friday dinner option for them.
I know for the Atlanta chapter, there's a great Chicago style pizza place that's closest thing to Chicago in Atlanta. It's called Nancy's Pizza. They're about 10 minutes away. They deliver, and that's typically what we'd secure. It's just having a few pizzas delivered for the students. That's the easiest way. But of course, there are more food options than just that.
And we can help you with those, Charity, if you need other suggestions.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, then parents, the parent chaperones, as well as the parents of the students have asked in reference to the itinerary of the activities that the students will be engaging in. But I know, Stephanie, I think you just said you're finalizing that and then I can forward that on to them, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. Oh, another question I was wondering about is in reference to transportation to and from the airport to the hotel, then the hotel back to the airport. What has been done previously that you guys could recommend for us chapters that are flying in with the students?
The least expensive option will be to take MARTA. There's a MARTA stop right near the hotel. I can't remember. Is it the Peachtree Plaza station?
Yeah.
Okay. So that would be the most cost efficient. Then of course you have taxis, Uber and Lyft as well.
And when you say MARTA, is that the public transportation system?
Yeah, it's a train. And it's a train that will take you directly there from the airport to the Peachtree Plaza station.
Yeah, very, very similar to CTA.
I'm
Okay.
sorry. I had to step away. Do y'all have a date? It's gonna be in Atlanta next year, but do y'all have a date for it, the next year conference?
No, that hasn't been set yet.
But just as an FYI, the dates are typically set pretty soon, either during or after conference.
Thank you for that question, Charity, as well as we'll meet her. There we go. Okay. Other questions or comments from the call? The floor is open.
Yes, sir. Hey, this is Perry. How you doing, Devin?
Hey, Perry, go ahead.
So I was wanted to follow up with Tori. Tori, hi, I'm Perry here in the Washington, D.C. area, and I was so glad you mentioned Bowie State. I just want to give a shout out to some of the HBCUs that, will be, BDPA will be supporting over time. But I want to make sure that those that attend the conference too, when you have opportunities to talk about getting the schools involved and some of our students, the Bowie State University, I had a chance to meet with them and people from Morgan State last week at NIH here in Washington, D.C. And so NIH wants to work with more schools and more small businesses. So everyone who has a small business that's coming to the conference, the government, I don't say Uncle Sam, writ large, we want to try to get as many small businesses, especially those that are African-American owned, women-owned businesses, to do more with HBCUs and get them involved in many of the innovative research and technology transfer programs. So use this conference to meet and greet. Many of us work with small businesses. We have our own companies. We have several people who have their own nonprofits. So we want each of them to be able to leverage those experiences. And when you get there, make sure introduce yourself to all the chapters, all the chapter presidents, but most importantly, all the HBCUs. Make sure you reach out to any one of us on the staff, and we will try to get you the points of contact at those schools that work on the grants and work on the projects that a lot of our students may need as interns and or employees, future employees or future business owners. But again, I just wanted to, again, thanks for the opportunity to address that. And I look forward to working more with most of the HBCUs in our region.
Thank you for sharing that, Perry. And I guess that's a good tie-in to Victor mentioned it earlier, but the culmination of this year's FI2L is what we've called the initiative now. But we have a partnership with NSBE, National Society of Black Engineers, for an entrepreneurship idea from idea to launch initiative, which we just concluded our virtual speaker series this year yesterday. But we have 4 different topics all around entrepreneurship for those who signed up for this year's program. And this will culminate with our pitch competition at the BDPA conference that Thursday. So for our second annual FI2L entrepreneurial pitch competition will be held Thursday. I believe that's at 2:00 during the conference. So we encourage you to come and check that out and hear from the entrepreneurs who have participated in this year's program, learn about their businesses and what they'll be doing going forward and how you can potentially support. But I think something else to speak to, and I hope I'm not speaking out of turn here, but I know that Tim has been working closely, I believe, with Lily, as well as Fearless, to get some conversations set up around supplier diversity and how entrepreneurs and young business owners can potentially tap into those opportunities with some of our sponsors and larger corporations. So be on the lookout for details around that. And if you are a business owner who is interested in learning more about that, feel free to drop an email in the chat or reach out, and I can get you connected with Tim around those opportunities as well. But I think there'll be a big focus around entrepreneurship this year and some opportunities for you to expand your business.
And the reason that there's such a big focus around entrepreneurship is that the MBDA, the Minority Business Development Agency, for the last few years have been giving grants to entities who've been partnering together. Like you'll have Tuskegee, which is one of my alma maters. They partnered with a couple businesses and they got these grants. You have these different businesses and then a HBCU who got together and put together some kind of entrepreneurship program where they're teaching business planning and how to get funding. And it's a big push to help minority businesses get funding or become aware of what's out there, the resources that are out there. And so you see SCORE just ramped up all of their training. Anybody go to score.org. There's a wealth of training as far as businesses, QuickBooks, anything that you want to know about a business is out there. And so there's a push, but people have not been aware of all of the stuff that's out there. And so they're trying to get, companies to start sponsoring community business development workshops and things of this nature so that they can take advantage of all the money that's been out there for these businesses to launch and move forward. So just so you know, the MBDA, you want to probably find your local MBDA organization and see what they're doing in your state or city to see what's available to you.
Yeah, and I did want to jump in because I saw it in the chat, but I wanted to ensure no one missed this because we didn't hit on it as much, but the career fair. We're going to have many booths, available, on Friday and Saturday for the career fair. Definitely want you to come out and not only support the career fair, but there could be potential opportunity for you. There can be future career pathways for you available at the career fair. So we definitely want to encourage you to come out and participate in the career fair.
Okay. Anyone else have anything to share or ask? Thanks for highlighting the career for Amisha. Good catch there.
Yes, one question. When is the last time to secure a table at the career fair or the tech fair?
We need to follow up with Raven Stevenson and Frank Anderson on that, Perry,
Okay.
and we can get back to you.
Okay.
And when we get that information, is that something we're gonna put out in the next newsletter with Goldie, or I want to push that out?
Yeah, we could do that. Work
Okay.
with Goldie between
Awesome.
social media or the newsletter,
Okay.
or both.
And just to the point that Perry just asked that question, you know, a different question and answer that I would give to the audience and those that may watch later is that there's always opportunity to sponsor National BDPA as well as the conference. So we have many student activities that still, you know, are supported, but we don't have sponsorship. And the way that we can increase, you know, scholarship dollars for those students that are committing a good portion of their year to technology learning is by company sponsorship. So if you're interested in sponsoring any of our BDPA programs via the conference or just nationally, definitely go out to our bdpa.org site, look at the sponsorships, and get involved. It's not too late to sponsor for the conference. So definitely looking forward to, you know, seeing an uptick. But if you and or your company would like to participate, you know, reach out to any of us representing BDPA on the call, and we'll connect you with the right folks to do that.
Yeah.
Thanks, Victor.
Yeah. Thanks, Victor.
We have a question in the chat. You can still volunteer even though you missed the orientation yesterday. And yes, we are asking people to register for the conference to volunteer.
Hope that answers your questions, Alexis. Okay, great questions from everyone. Anything else?
Yeah, this is Misha. I think there's also a question about how to register for the Google event in the chat.
Yeah, those details are forthcoming. We haven't gotten the link from Google yet, but we'll be sending that out.
Okay. And then Perry, I see there's a question, I think directly to you from Natalie in the chat around is DC and Northern Virginia partner for different events. So Perry, I'll let you address that one.
Okay. In fact, we can expand that for everyone else. As many of you know, Northern Virginia has its charter, and we are now bringing the chapter back online. And this year, BDPA Washington, D.C. is celebrating its 45th anniversary. So basically, the same year we had our first conference, it was held in Washington, D.C. So every anniversary we have for our national conference, the D.C. chapter has its anniversary. That being said, we have brought the Baltimore chapter and the Northern Virginia chapter to good standing, and I think special elections will be occurring soon. So we will have a 45th anniversary event later this fall. We're currently working with all three chapters to get that done. And we also have, as many of you know, a 5-sided building that sits just across the Potomac from Washington, which is right here. It's the Pentagon. And I usually encourage everybody to look at our acronym as BDPA. And this week, in fact, even yesterday, we were down in Monroe, Louisiana for BDPACon South. So we told all the students, and I'll share with the audience here today, I look at that acronym as billion-dollar programs available. And as you know, the Pentagon's budget, I think was just approved yesterday in appropriations, is going to be very close to $1 trillion. So within that trillion, there's several billion-dollar programs available just within that building. And that goes back to the HBCUs we're talking about. It goes back to the small businesses that we're talking about. We want to make sure that all of the chapter presidents, the staff, the entrepreneurs, the nonprofits, you have everything you need to engage, because there's going to be significant opportunities across 5 domains: air, land, sea, space, and cyber. And as most of you know, cyber transcends the previous 4. So now back to North Virginia. We actually have the larger alphabet agencies across the Potomac that also support a lot of BDPA's initiatives. And one of them will be participating in this year's career fair as well. That's the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, or NGA. So when we were growing up, well, in our class, nobody told us about NGA or the mapping agency, but basically, in layperson's terms, is mapping, geospatial information technology, geospatial intelligence. And anyone who works with maps, GPS, autonomous vehicles, that's the agency you want to start getting internships with, subcontracting contracts. And of course, you're going to need security clearances to work with any of those alphabet agencies on the other side of the Potomac River. So I'll stop here for a second. If anybody have any questions on everything I touched on, feel free to chime in. Hearing none, we have one more organization in Northern Virginia that will also be working with us in the next several years. That's the Fairfax Economic Development Council. And they were supporting us in the last couple of years. And as you know, I think Amazon built a new headquarters in Northern Virginia. So there's a lot of, I would say, good tailwinds that are supporting the growth in Northern Virginia. And if you look at the view right behind me, the photo of Washington, D.C. was taken from Virginia. So that's it, Devin. Hope I answered everybody's questions.
All right, thank you for that, Perry. And I did see a couple more questions as it relates to volunteers. So I see one question is, can someone volunteer for other aspects of the conference if they register for the career fair only? Then there was another question, is there a specific conference volunteer registration link? Thank you. Speaking on mute, Stephanie.
There's not a specific conference volunteer registration link. And Takia, for your question, if you could reach out to us, we'll discuss that with you.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
What else? Have a few minutes left. I want to make sure all hearts and minds are clear.
Hey Devin, this is Goldie. I just wanted to mention for Friday night, we do have another social event after the Google networking event. We're going to host a game night. So we're still finalizing like the logistics for that and everything, but just wanted to put that out there. So that's going to happen after the Google event, probably from like 8:30 to 11 Friday night.
So does that mean I don't have to do karaoke anymore? I don't have to sing, Goldie?
See how we did that there? We're taking it easy on you there, Victor. We switched it up. No karaoke, just game night. So just, bring your card skills and your Uno skills.
All right, I can bring the card skill.
I don't know. I kind of want to switch it to karaoke just to see now. I don't know.
I would love to play some spades, Victor.
Hey, you know what? Look, we might have to set up a few tables,
Uh-huh. I have a quick question. Is the Largo office ever open?
Says the Largo office.
The BDP Largo office.
Yeah.
Perry, do you know the answer to that?
So the short answer, I do not know the direct answer. I was texting with Eric yesterday. The Largo office is a remote office for BDPA. It is our national headquarters. And what happens there is there are rooms to rent if we need it, meetings to have if we need it. But right now, the organization uses it primarily for mail, regular mail, as a physical address. And that particular service is provided by, very similar to mailboxes, et cetera. Or right now, I'm dating myself now, the UPS store, Kinko's, again, Kinko's now what, FedEx office. So yes, it is a shared office space, and it can be open on call. It's just, just in time inventory. So that's a long yes. It is open, but everybody has a different flavor of open.
Okay. I know when I first moved out in this region, I was trying to connect, and that was several years ago.
Okay.
And I could never find anybody in the office. But Perry, can you share your number with me through chat?
I did. I sent you that, and I did send that to you.
Yeah, I did. Okay, no problem.
If not, my email, and look, I'm dating myself again, but I was BDPA's very first webmaster.
Whoa.
Very first. And you got to read the book on that. There's another story behind that. But my email is perry@bdpa.org.
Okay. I was the National Society of Black Physicists' first web.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah, that's cool. So yeah, so that's my email, and you can just drop me an email there. I'll send you my number. And but again, going back to the office, we do hope to have over the next couple of years, staff to answer the phone. I know we're working with the chapter president here in Washington, D.C., Mr. Raymond Bell. We're trying to establish a help desk that will be staffed 24/7 for young students coming out of high school, GEDs. We're trying to get them, certified for help desk opportunities. But again, that would be a perfect place for them to develop their skills as well. So, we look forward to having that information shared with you as well. So that's a very long yes. The office is there. The office is there. And I'm sure like other chapters have similar operations. And the office is where you are. So normally we meet a lot at IHOP. So we have IHOP in Anacostia in DC. There's IHOP in Bowie. There are actually 2 IHOPs in Bowie, one very close to Bowie State. IHOP has always been our sponsor for our regionals we used to have at Bowie State University. So we meet wherever we eat, basically. So that's your meeting, that's your location.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, thank you for that. So we're here in the last few minutes. I want to allow Stephanie and Victor to give some just closing remarks before we wrap up for the day. But I have just reshared the registration link for the conference.bdpa.org. It's in the chat. Simple to remember, so make sure you check that out and go register if you haven't already. And we look forward to seeing you in a few weeks. But Stephanie, Victor, I'll let you give us some closing remarks before we wrap up today.
Okay, my remarks are to always thank everyone who's been involved with the planning and execution of the conference. Your work has been very appreciated, and we couldn't do it without you. And for those of you who haven't registered for the conference, we hope you consider joining us. We'd love to see you. And for those who've already registered, we're looking forward to see you as well.
Yeah, and the work that goes into planning this, you just have to take your head off to the people that sacrifice, time and effort, to just put on a good experience. But the experience is not for those that are planning. The experience of those that are participating in the event. And we just encourage you, we invite you to come sharing the fun, sharing the networking, sharing the learning, sharing the future of what's possible, right? And participate in that career fair. There will be many companies present. If not for you, encourage a friend to participate. We definitely want to ensure our community is being exposed to the right things at the right time. And I'm excited. I can't wait to see some of your faces. And oh yeah, we will get on the spades table. I do talk a lot of trash, but I back it up also. So now looking forward to hanging with you all.
All right.
Thank you, Stephanie.
And a chessboard.
Chess too, doing it all. So thank you, Stephanie and Victor, for your leadership and being our conference co-chairs this year. So we applaud you and appreciate you for all you've done. Thank you, Lorraine, for that reminder. This is a national election year. So chapters, make sure your delegates are registered and come prepared to vote for our next round of leadership. So thank you for that reminder. That's very important. So yes, national election year, tap in. So
I do have one more question about volunteer. Is there a link that you can put in the chat for volunteers to register for to volunteer at the conference?
No, we don't have a specific link. People have been sending their information to the help desk at bdpa.org, and we get that over to Allison.
Great, thank you.
And there's also an option when you go through the conference registration to indicate that you're interested in being a volunteer as well. Want to make sure that's known also. Okay, so yeah, make sure you email helpdesk@bdpa.org if you're interested in volunteering at this point, and that'll make sure you get aligned the right way. Stephanie Bitter, there's an email address you want people to use to contact you all directly. Feel free to share that also. But lastly, I just want to remind you, register for the conference, conference.bdpa.org. And also the recording of this session and all of our previous and future Tech and Career Talks can be found at bdpa.org/tech in career talks. Or you can go to YouTube to our national BDPA YouTube channel. Like, subscribe, follow, share, all that good stuff on there. Thank you all for joining. Like I say, this will be our last Tech and Career Talk probably until September, so we can focus on the conference next month. But we'll look forward to seeing you in 3 weeks. We're going to have a great time on the Space Table and Stepping with Chicago with DJ Tron and talking about AI and all that good stuff. So y'all stay safe, stay blessed until next time. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thanks, everyone.